What's up, everybody? Brian Altano here, and in today's gaming news, we've got bad news for trophy and achievement hunters who are ready for Elden Ring's big new expansion. The team behind The Witcher has congratulated Fromsoft on a massive milestone, and Sony may have cut their PSVR support down to just 2 games. Yikes. It's the Daily Fix. Alright, if you're a big trophy or achievement hunter who is excited to jump into Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, or you already stayed up way too late playing it last night, like this guy did, I'm doing great today. I've got some bad news. There's no new trophies or achievements anywhere to be found across this massive new DLC. Now, although the Elden Ring base game had a ton of them, many of which were pretty tough to get, the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC doesn't have any of them at all. So if you already platinumed the main game, well, I guess you've basically already platinumed the whole thing too. Now, long-term Fromsoftware game fans are probably not too surprised by this decision, considering Bloodborne's Old Hunters DLC is the only Soulsborne game expansion from FromSoft to get its own set of unique trophies. Now, I know this because I worked very hard to get them myself, despite not really being a big trophy or achievement hunter guy, but something about Bloodborne being the greatest game of all time, yeah, I said it, made me go for it. Also, Bloodborne being a PlayStation exclusive might have been what caused trophies to appear in its expansion and not show up for expansions to the multi-platform Dark Souls games, for example. Now, obviously, lots of people just straight up don't care about these things, but for many, trophies and achievements add a very welcomed layer of challenge and depth to an already great game, and it would have been cool to see FromSoft embrace them for Shadow of the Erdtree. Also, I probably would have gone for them all again and then posted a picture of myself in front of my television, the gamer equivalent of Henry Winkler posing with a big fish he caught. I love it. Also, releasing an additional set of digital rewards is pretty much the norm for big DLC expansions. The DLC for Fallout 4, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Halo Infinite, The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, and many more all had additional trophies or achievements. For example, either way, Shadow of the Erdtree rules, and we gave it a 10 out of 10. I agree. It's absolutely worth playing either way. My suggestion, though, put the trophy or achievement pop-up sound on your phone and then play it every time you defeat a big boss. It's definitely not the same, but hey, it's called a role-playing game for a reason. Now, speaking of Elden Ring, the Witcher 3 developers CD Projekt Red have congratulated Fromsoftware for having the best reviewed expansion ever in a really awesome post on Twitter. For those keeping score at home, the Witcher 3's Blood and Wine expansion previously held the record for the most critically acclaimed video game expansion with a Metascore of 92. That is until the Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion launched this week, which is currently at a Metascore of 95. Now, in a tweet posted this morning, CD Projekt Red congratulated Elden Ring developer Fromsoftware for the release of Shadow of the Erdtree and even pointed to its own staff preparing for its release today, June 21st. For the last 8 years, The Witcher 3 Blood and Wine had the honor of being the best reviewed expansion for a role-playing game, CD Projekt Red said, but Elden Ring gets to wear that crown now. Congratulations to the entire team at Fromsoftware PR on their stellar work. Now, the account also followed up with a collage of various CD Projekt Red employees preparing for the DLC by killing one of the required bosses in the base game. There are 2 of them, go look them up, and posing in front of the big weird egg thing that is used to access the Erdtree expansion. In an industry that is often plagued with toxic discourse, fanboy bickering over platforms and companies, and console wars in general, it's really cool to see that in reality, the people who make games love playing games and celebrating them. I love this whole exchange specifically because it reminds me of the very classy tradition of movie directors congratulating each other when a movie beats a previously existing box office record. We've seen these kind of exchanges happen between Star Wars, Marvel, Jurassic Park, and, well, basically everything that James Cameron has ever directed, and the result is usually a really cool and fun piece of crossover art that either gets posted online or, back in the day, printed in a newspaper or trade publication. I'd love to see more game studios do this because it's awesome. And finally, if you bought a PSVR 2 hoping it would get tons of first-party support from PlayStation only to realize it didn't, it's somehow about to get even worse on that front. I didn't think that was possible. Sony is reportedly decreasing its investment in virtual reality gaming, with the publisher said to have only 2 first-party games in development internally for its PlayStation VR headset. Obviously not counting third-party stuff, this is just stuff that PlayStation is making. In a new report from Android Central, sources close to the outlet claimed that Sony is making deep cuts to funding for VR games, making for very few opportunities for in-house VR games in the future. Android Android Central's report also claimed that only 2 first-party games for the PlayStation VR 2 are in development. Sony did not immediately respond to IGN's request for comment. If the claim that Sony is slashing investment in VR games is true, the company would not be the only ones pulling back support on VR. In February, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot revealed that the publisher did not plan to increase investment in additional VR games due to the disappointing sales performance of Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. If you didn't like the way I said that guy's name, I have better news for you. I failed at a French class in middle school. Sony's PSVR 2, which launched last year with some great tech capabilities and a solid launch lineup of games, has received little to no first-party support from PlayStation since then, and there's currently no public roadmap of which PlayStation studios are even actively working on new PSVR games, if any of them even are. Sony announced last month that a PC adapter for the PSVR 2 will be available on August 7th, letting PSVR 2 players play PC VR exclusive games like Half-Life Alyx, although several of the headset's signature features like eye tracking, HDR, and adaptive triggers will not be available, which is pretty frustrating for PSVR 2 owners. Now, did you buy a PSVR 2? Are you happy with the system's library? And if you didn't buy one, what would get you to buy one? Let me know in the comments below. Now, I loved the first PSVR. That platform's waning support over time kept me from buying a PSVR 2 at launch, and personally, nothing has really convinced me to change my mind on that front since then, which sucks, because like I want VR to succeed. I want these companies to be successful. I think VR as a medium is pretty awesome. I completely understand, there's a lot of barriers to get in there. It's expensive, and games take a long time to make. And I don't know, sometimes after a long day at work, I don't want to put on a little hat and look at things. I want to sit on my couch and look at my big TV. But either way, it's not about me. It's about you. It's all about you. It's your fault. You didn't buy this thing, and now they're not making games. Look what you did. I'm kidding. It's no one's fault. Sony should be funding whatever they put out. They put out their own system. They should fund it. They should make games for it. Otherwise, why are you even selling it? And that's your Daily Fix for Friday, June 21st. Next week, myself and Damon Hatfield will be traveling to Sao Paulo, Brazil for Gamescom Latin America. So if you live there and have any food recommendations, let me know, because it's like a couple of really long flights, and when I show up, I'm going to be starving. Until then, thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I hope you have an awesome weekend.